Hello everyone, it is Christine here with one of my exciting videos to kick off the new year. I look forward to this time every year where I get to share with you my curriculum choices for the upcoming school year. So as you can see, I am filming this at Christmas time. I have my Christmas tree behind me and I just thought it was a different and a nice backdrop to do for these videos. I am batch filming today and I'm going to be sharing with you our curriculum choices for the 2023 school year. For those of you who might be new to my channel, I have 3 kids who are going to be 7 turning 8 in March. Is going to be my eldest son, and then I have my daughters who are 6 and 4, and they're going to be those ages for most of this year coming up. And in New Zealand, our school year runs from February through to December. And so that is why I'm sharing our curriculum choices now, because we're about to begin our new homeschool year. And this video, I'm specifically going to be talking about our group subjects. So I typically teach my kids certain subjects as a group. I don't break them down into grade level because I just don't feel like it's necessary. It's a lot cheaper to do it this way, and it's a lot easier on our homeschool schedule to do it this way. And so I'm going to chat about what I picked, and I have done a review of last year's school term, so you're welcome to go and check that out, or school year, not just term. I do tend to break it down by term, but I did like a recap of the whole year. Overall, we were actually pretty happy with our homeschool group subjects last year, but I've changed things up quite significantly this year. I definitely spent more money this year, but I'm very, very excited about what is going to be happening. So let's get stuck into it, and I am going to chat a little bit about certain things and why we switched and that kind of thing, but I do want to kind of preface it by saying that I wasn't like super unhappy with anything last year. This just seemed like a better option for us this year. So you would have seen in my video that I posted probably last week, I'm like guessing as to when I'm going to be publishing all of this, that we're using Sunlight for some of our curriculum this year, and that is what is making up the bulk of our group subjects this year is Sunlight. Like listening to my kids being quiet. It's quiet time and I can just hear doors slamming. Anyway, I am going to share with you what we've got and then a couple of other things that I'll be using that aren't Sunlight, but honestly, we're mostly just using Sunlight for group subjects. So let's start with our science curriculum. So last year we used Science from the Good and the Beautiful, and the kids enjoyed it. It was good. The reason I chose not to pursue it this year is because one, it just was a lot of prep work. Because I'm not ordering the physical copies, I'm printing them at home. There's a lot of prep work involved in the science units. I found just a lot of cutting, a lot of laminating, and all that kind of stuff. And I personally just didn't enjoy doing that much. And I'm someone who does a lot of printing and prep work. So for me to say that, kind of like, yeah. I don't want to put anyone off of that curriculum because it is fun and engaging. My kids liked it, but it was just a bit too much for me. And for some reason, like when we did the lessons, I enjoyed them and the kids enjoyed them, but I always just didn't want to pull out the books. And I don't know why that was exactly, but I didn't love it. And so I decided to go with Sunlight this year. And honestly, the whole way I got here, I got onto Sunlight because I wasn't planning on doing our history and everything with Sunlight originally, but I was looking for science curriculum and I was looking at mystery science and looking at different things, and then Sunlight just kept coming up, and so I ended up looking at their science, and then one thing led to another, and here we are with a whole bunch of Sunlight curriculum. But their science had been very highly recommended, and so I looked into it, and I just love a literature-based curriculum. I just love that. I love books. I love read alouds, and so do my kids. And so I wanted more of that in our school this year, and that is why I went this way. So it comes with this instructor's guide, and we're doing the 4-day program, but I love this. It's all planned out for me. It's just so well thought out and very thorough, and the planner in me absolutely loves it. So I'm very excited to give this a go. So the one thing that held me back, because it's a literature-based curriculum in the sense that you read from books, which I've got a whole pile here, I'll show you, and then you also do science experiments once a week. My issue was they don't ship the science kit to New Zealand because of biohazard things, you know, like it's all border control stuff. And so I was like, oh man, and then I looked at, like I was gonna put everything together myself, and then I saw a few people mention that they just watched the videos, and so I hadn't actually gotten the videos, but I went out back and purchased them, and they look really fun. So I think what we're gonna do is mostly use the videos, and the kids will just watch those once a week, and then maybe once a month, or whatever, whatever it ends up being, we'll do an actual experiment. Like I'll look through and see which ones work for us. So it's like 3 days of literature, and then the 4th day is the experiment. And it goes through all these books. You'll see I've got like a whole pile here. They use a lot of Usborne books, ants, and reptiles. I don't know what else there was. Rainforests, bees and wasps, and weather. So there's a lot of these little books here that we're going through. They've got a magic schoolhouse book. And why do elephants need the sun? This one here about trees and seeds. They've got this DK Find Out Science book, which is just like great. And then it also comes with this big book of science experiments. So this goes through all the science experiments included, and gives you like pictures and like everything you need to do. So like this would be great even if you didn't use sunlight. Like this would just be a cool experiment book. So there's that. And then it also comes with a paper packet of like to go with the science experiments, like note paper to write down your theories and all that kind of stuff. And so I've got that in here. And then it came with worksheets as well, which was all in this instructor's guide, and I just went ahead and bound this. They do have a big binder you can buy, but I just preferred to have it like this, separate. I just felt like it would be easier to store and everything for me, so I did it that way. And then what I did was I made photocopies of the worksheets for my kids, and I just bound them into these, so they each have their own. I just put a picture on the front. I made my own cover, so the kids can have their own worksheets. And these, I mean, they're not crazy. They won't take them long or anything, but it's just basic stuff that they do daily. I don't know if they do it on the day with the science experiment, but they do the other 3. And so my big kids are going to do this. I haven't printed it for my youngest child. She's going to be in preschool this year, and I'll have a whole video on what I'm doing with her. She'll tag along for the read alouds, but not necessarily the actual like worksheets and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be doing for science this year, and I'm looking forward to it. It looks fun. It looks doable. I started on their level K because ultimately I want my youngest to be able to be included in the course that I choose in the future. She's going to kind of do her own thing for the next couple of years, which I'll talk about in a upcoming video. But ultimately, I want all my kids to be together, and so I chose K because I feel like it'll encompass their ages enough. We'll see as we go forward. I might change my mind. Science is the one thing I haven't yet settled on as far as curriculums go, but I'm hoping this will work for us. Okay, next up, let's talk history. Now, history was not something I was planning on changing. We really enjoyed Story of the World Volume 1 last year. I used that when I was being homeschooled myself. I really enjoyed it, and the kids did too. But when I was looking at Sunlight, I was just like, oh gosh, I really want to do this. I really, really want this literature-based approach. And then I found that they use Story of the World in their higher levels, and so that kind of sold me on it. I was like, okay, good. We can go back to that eventually, but in the meantime, we can do this. And worst case scenario, if we don't like this year, we can always just go back to using Story of the World. But I did get their History, Bible, and Literature Core K this year, so we're doing U.S. history, which I feel like I'm going to have to do like a whole video on Sunlight and Sunlight curriculum and using it as someone who is, 1, not American, and 2, lives outside of the US. But basically, they do world history, but they're not necessarily focusing on US history within that world history. And so I don't want to completely not do US history because it plays a big part in the world in general. And so we're going to do US history this year. And I'm looking forward to it. So I've got the instructor's guide here. And this just, again, 4-day week is what we're doing, and it's got everything I need to know in here. Tells me what to read and when to read it. And then this is our pile of books. which we've got a whole bunch here. I'll just hold them up for you. You can have a look. But I really am excited about what we're going to do. Whoops daisies. I hope it's focusing on this. It's hard to tell because my camera's actually quite far away because of the lens I use. So yeah, there's a bunch of different books that we will be going through this year that we will be learning history from. And I guess what really sold me on this is that this is how I learned most of my history, was through reading literature, not boring, stuffy textbooks. And so I wanted the same for my kids, and this curriculum just really has that. So those are all the books that go with the history curriculum. And then the other things I've got, hold on a second, I don't know where I put them, but I have the timeline figure stickers. So they have like timeline figures, and as you read about them, the book will prompt you where to put them. And they do have their own like timeline, like book of centuries basically, but I've already got one from An Advance Paper Co., which I love, and so I didn't order the Sunlight one. We're just going to stick with our one, and we will fill it up in here instead. So that's also for our history. And then it came with this map, which I kept out. It's got a whole bunch of maps on it, and it's like a markable map. So I kept this out. You can see it's got holes in it, so you can put it in a binder if you want to. And then I also went ahead and ordered this map, which came with some markers as well, and it's got a world map on one side. Oopsie daisies, I'm like breaking my cord. A world map on one side, and then it's got the US on the other side. So this map seems like really great. I'm looking forward to it. So that's our history, and I'm very much looking forward to going through that with my kids this year. Yeah, history is one of my favorite subjects, and I feel like I get to relearn it all now as an adult, and that's really cool. Okay, and then the last thing that is from Sunlight are our read alouds. And so this is our literature packet. This is what I will be reading to all three of my kids every day, little bits from each book, and it guides you throughout the year. So I will grab that. So the instructor's guide that I showed you for history also has the directions for what to read from the read alouds. But I'm just going to hold up. There's so many. So, like, hold on. This is the pile of read alouds that we're going to do this year. And I'm really looking forward to it. So we have this one, which is actually a poetry book. And then a bunch of read alouds. I'm just going to hold up a few of them at a time because otherwise we're going to be here all day. This one and this one here. And this one I'm excited about. I love Richard Scarry's book. Like, they're some of my absolute favorite when I was a kid. So, love that we've got that. All of these. And then these ones as well. And then the Bible as well, which we'll be going through daily too. So, like, I know it looks like tons of books, but you're only reading like a little bit every day. And also, like, looking through the books, my kids are actually very much used to reading, like having me read higher level books to them than these ones. So I think it's actually going to be pretty easy for them as far as like sitting and listening and comprehending and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then I have just a couple of other things I'm going to show you. Okay, books are heavy. I'm getting out of breath. That's also why I decided to film in the living room today and not down in my bedroom, because I didn't want to have to cart all the books down there. So one thing that we did last year that we're sticking with is our hymn study. This is a book that I bought called Then Sings My Soul. And it's got a lot of very common hymns in here, and it's got the story behind the hymn, who wrote it, like a little bit of their life, that kind of thing. And we worked on like memorizing that in a term. We'd just pick one and focus on it like throughout the term. So I'm hoping to continue with that this year because we liked doing that. And then these two books are poetry books that we love. I Am the Seed That Grew the Tree. It's also, what is the other name for that one? There's another name for it. Sing a Song of Something, maybe. Sing a Song of Something. It's got a different title and a different cover, but it's Sing a Song of Seasons, I think maybe. It's exactly the same book on the inside. I don't know why it's different. Okay, sorry, I was interrupted by a phone call. So what I was saying is that we love these books. So there's this one, yes, Sing a Song of Seasons, I'm pretty sure is the title of the other book, which is exactly the same on the inside. It just has a different cover. And then we also have this one, Tiger, Tiger, Burning Bright. This one is animal poems. The other one is nature poems. I want to see if there are more of these books because I love them. The illustrations inside are beautiful. My kids love them, and it's literally a poem for every day of the year. And so I alternate. We've read the animal poems on odd days, on odd dates, and then the nature poems on even dates, and it's fun, and I love them, and it takes just a few seconds, and the kids enjoy it. So we're going to continue with those this year because it's quick and easy. And also, I don't have it with me. Oh, hold on. It's right close. We'll also continue with our scripture memorization, which this is the method from Simply Charlotte Mason. I just DIY'd my own. I printed off the verses that they had available. It's like a free download, and then I found this box and made it all up myself. So this again takes maybe 5 minutes in the morning, and I am very, very happy with the results of it so far. So I think that's everything. And I know it looks like a lot, but it really shouldn't take us a terribly long amount of time to get through this stuff. It's just a little bit every day. And because I chose the 4-day week option, we can kind of like stagger things so we're not doing everything every day. You know what I mean? So we will have a little bit of flexibility and room for what we need to do there. You know, and when sickness comes up and things come up and you just have to like go with the flow a bit, we'll be able to do that. So I'm excited for our group subjects this year and just for the togetherness that this curriculum looks like it's going to give us. And I did really think through this a lot because it was very pricey to purchase all this and have it shipped here to New Zealand. I bought it all brand new directly from Sunlight. But you know, I had the income to do that, thankfully, which I was very grateful for. But also there are other things I could invest in, but I just think like my kids' education, if I have the opportunity to do that, there are things I could be wasting money on in comparison to that. And I would rather them have really good literature and good books. And yeah, so I think it was kind of sticker shock because so much of what we use is free. Like when you look at the cost of this stuff and add shipping, I don't like... The shipping in and of itself is like eye-wateringly expensive, but it's just there's so much that was a blessing to me in the sense that it's all kind of open and go. The books are provided. I don't have to spend lots of time looking all over the place for books and where to get them from. It just simplifies my life. And this year I'm going to be schooling 3 kids, and so I feel like keeping things simple is really important. And so I was grateful for that, and I feel like Sunlight, so far, obviously we haven't used it yet, so I'm just like, these were my thoughts in purchasing it. It seems like a beautiful merging together of structure in the sense that it has instructor's guides, it tells you exactly what to do, and also literature, because it's not a traditional homeschool curriculum or school curriculum in any sense. It's not like sitting down and just doing worksheets and using textbooks. It's very literature rich. And so I feel like it merges those two things beautifully. One of the other factors that came into play when I was picking this is just the fact that because you're reading from an abundance of literature, you're getting more of like a well-rounded view on things. Obviously, I want my kids to have a very grounded faith, and I want to lead them to Christ, but I also don't want to keep them in a complete bubble so that one day when they grow up and see all this stuff, they're going to be like, what the heck, this all existed, you know? Like I want them to be introduced to things where I can control it still and do it in a safe way where it encourages really good discussion. I don't want to shield them from everything completely. So I felt like Sunlight kind of does that to an extent, and so that was one of the other factors in choosing it. So I feel like I probably need to do a whole video just on Sunlight, but that's kind of some of my thoughts. This is getting really long now, so I'm going to end it here. If you have any questions for me, please leave them down in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer you and do my best to help you with any questions you might have, or just to hear from you is always a blessing, so go ahead and leave those comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
If the world had more of your smile, What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach every